In just a few moments, a couple of rated ball clubs. Fort Dodge, number 2, taking on the Knights of Carroll Kuemper, number 4, in our second and final game here in the semifinal series in 3A. The winner to meet West Waterloo, which shot over 60%, by the way, in winning its ball game here earlier today over Burlington. Fort Dodge, the Dodgers, as I mentioned, are coached by Gary Reiners. Carroll Kuemper is coached by Wayne Chanley. Chanley in his 11th year. He's been here 4 times in 76, 78, and 79 previously, and now here in 85. Carroll Kuemper's never won a title. They were runner-up in 69. For Reiners, this is his first trip, of course, in his first year. It's the 6th trip for the team, but they haven't been here since 1968. But Fort Dodge has had, as I understand it, just an excellent athletic year. The Fort Dodgers girls, of course, were the girls basketball champions, and we understand they took the volleyball championship. They're celebrating a wrestling championship, so Fort Dodge has just had a splendid interscholastic year. We'll be back with the starting lineups after this word from your local station. The regular season. As a matter of fact, that's one of the 2 losses that Carroll Kuemper has. A 2-point loss to Fort Dodge. The other loss was to Des Moines East, which is a remarkable basketball team, had a great season. So it's been super. And there you see a fellow who was around Iowa for a long time, Frosty. Lute Olson, down in Arizona now in that warm country with that team. We're going to go courtside for the introduction of our teams here in this semifinal.
And listed as the home team, the Knights from Carroll Kuemper. The non-starters for Fort Dodge. Number 13 is Wade Lookingbill. Number 53, Brent Brokaw. Number 45, Ken Thedford. Number 43, Scott Patton. Number 35, Dave Mayworm. Number 33, Zeb Mosley. Number 31, Mike Thedford. Number 25, Ed Larson. Number 15, Rob Thorson. Number 11, Amin Al-Hamid. The assistant coaches for the Dodgers, Mike Woodley, Don Cook. For Carroll Kuemper, number 40 is Tony Thielen. Number 34, Steve Cernett. Number 30, Doug Heinrichs. Number 24, Pat Mashing. Number 14, Jeff Lenz. Number 10, Rick Button. Number 20, Frank Molick. Number 12, Paul Dre. Number 44, Craig Broyles. And number 22, Mike Prenger. The assistant coach for the Carroll Kuemper Knights, Mark Barnum. And now for your starting lineups. At a forward for Fort Dodge, number 41, Brian LaMacca. For Carroll Kuemper, number 54 is Roger Gayling. Number 51 is Mike Murphy. Number 42, Bill Deers. At the centers, number 55, Jim Crooks. Number 52, Brian David. At the guards, number 21, J.D. Crumley. Number 50, John Oswald. Number 23, Thomas Clark. And number 32, Nick Nurse. The head coach for the Dodgers is Gary Reiners, and for the Knights, Wayne Chanley. Our officials for the ball game, the referee, Randy Krejci from Cedar Rapids, the umpire, Charles Britton from Waverly, and the bench official, Bob Oldus of Iowa City.
We've had the introductions A moment ago, we showed you Lute Olson visiting here, and Mitch, of course, he has more than passing interest in this ball game because of a young man who plays for Carroll Kuemper.
Brian David, he's a much feared basketball player. He maybe didn't have the great game in the first round, but he's what made things happen for the other 4 members of the ball club.
Exactly. He creates opportunities. You just have that kind of a respect for him. It's going to be interesting to watch his battle against 6'8" Jimmy Crooks. Crooks is listed at 225, but as we look at them, I'd guess him at heavier than that. His coach said he's lost 30 pounds, but boy, if he doesn't go at 240, 245 at least.
He's a big man, the biggest man in this tournament.
They've got David listed at 215. Crooks takes the tip and into the hands of J.D. Crumley, and Crumley is what makes Fort Dodge go. He's the floor general, runs it all from that point guard spot. Lamica, Murphy, and it's retrieved by David. Here comes Carroll Kuemper.
Boy, David had good body control to know where his toes were on the line and reach outside.
I imagine he knows Lute's on hand as well. You're looking at Oswald handle it and give it out to Nick Nurse. Nurse had a beautiful game against Cedar Rapids, Washington, scoring 19. So did Gailing, who's handling the ball on the far side. He had a career high ball game of 21. And there you see part of the reason why they're tough. That's John Oswald. Oswald is averaging just 5 a ball game. He had 1 against Cedar Rapids, Washington. That's the opening scoring here for Kuemper. 2-0. J.D. Crumley giving it to Lamica, who looks in at Jimmy Crooks. Lamica from about 11 feet. The air ball picked off by Johnny Oswald. Oswald with the right hand heading east here at Des Moines. Just underway. The winner takes on West Waterloo for the 3A title. Well, Oswald shuffled his feet before he started the drive.
Well, Oswald owns everything in the offensive box score so far. 1 shot, 1 bucket, 1 travel. He was 0 for 4, incidentally, from the field in that first game.
Well, they don't count on him for scoring. As you know, Frosty, he's there to
get the ball,
play a different role. Jimmy Crooks on the rim. The follow-up by Murphy with the left hand. The long rebound comes out to Deers. D-I-E-R-S, pronounced Deers. 6'4" junior, plays very well. Nick Nurse dropping it off for Oswald. Against that 2-1-2 zone. Deers a careless pass, and a foul is going to be called on Clark. He got there a little late. You saw Clark had larceny on his mind. He saw the pass. It was a careless one, but he didn't get there in time.
All right, you'll see it right now as he comes in and got it with the body. First team foul on Fort Dodge. Kuemper has none. High school basketball, you shoot on 5.
Nurse is handling it on the far side against Clark. Drops in the corner to Deers. Gets iron, that's all. The rebound comes off to Deers. Brings it up on top to Oswald. Coming down to 6 minutes to play. 2-0. Carroll Kuemper inside to David, slapped away by Murphy.
Fort Dodge trying to write an unprecedented story. Their girls won the state 2A volleyball. Their wrestling team is the state champion. Girls basketball, state champions 6-on-6. The football team went to the playoffs. How about that?
As we stated earlier, Mitch, just a marvelous interscholastic athletic year for Fort Dodge. They have every reason to take a great deal of pride. Oh, speaking of pride, the pride of Carroll Kuemper, Brian David, inside, where, of course, they want to go as often as they can. 4-0.
Tallest man in the tournament at 6'9". You don't want to give him that shot.
His first scoring, he's averaging 20.5. The rebound comes off, picked off by Gailing. Kuemper in control as the ball goes to Oswald. 5.5 minutes left to play. Opening frame. Nurse. Deers looking inside. Nothing there. Gailing swings it around inside the Deers. In the lane, Deers trying the shot.
Fort Dodge wants timeout.
3 field goals. 1 by Deers, David, and Oswald. Timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 6, Fort Dodge 0. Now this word from your local station. As we stated, David coming into the tournament was the number 2 scorer of the 8 teams entered. However, Fort Dodge has some credentials. They have the number 6 tournament scorer in Mike Murphy and the number 6 rebounder. They have the number 8 scorer in Thomas Clark, and they have the number 10 scorer in Jimmy Crooks. So they've got balance in scoring up and down that Fort Dodge lineup. And it's Fort Dodge's basketball. The lead belongs to Kuemper. You're looking at J.D. Crumley.
Well, we'll see what a timeout meant to him here.
Right, Lamica to Murphy. Murphy is a fine rebounder. He's got good touch, long arms. Lamica with the penetration.
Well, he's an athlete. He's carrying the big knee bandage here. He was the quarterback on a football team. When he was out early in the season, they could tell it.
Oswald taking that pass from David in the backcourt. And he gives it over to Gehling. Gehling, as I had said, had that career-high 21. He averages nowhere near that. Gets about 8 a game, but he had a real big one against Cedar Rapids, Washington. And that's when you got to have him in this tournament.
Mark, when he hit that 21, he was 13 above his average. But Nurse in the ball game for Fort Dodge was over his average by 11.
David on the iron, and you saw the rebound go to Crooks. Crooks comes down to Clark quickly, and he waits for the teammates to catch up. Gives it to J.D. Crumley. Lamica inside to Murphy beautifully. Murphy with the left hand. Lamica with the assist.
And so after the timeout, they made it pay. Coach Reimer's got 4 straight points.
That was sweet offense that time. 4 minutes left to go, opening quarter. It's 6-4. Kuemper by 2, was up by 6, as you'll recall a moment ago. Oswald. You saw Nurse change his mind. Around the outside of that 2-1-2 or 2-3. Always looking for David, trying to find the light. Nurse. Perfect.
Good night, Nurse.
Nurse scored 19 in the Washington win. He's averaging 12 his first 2 here this afternoon. The difference is 4. Fort Dodge on the short end. They have the ball.
Nurse had 15 of those 21 at halftime, and they're 19 at halftime, Mike.
Lamica shuffled his feet before he started. We've seen quite a bit of that in the tournament, Mitch. They're anxious to go, and they don't put the ball on the floor.
Well, they're big and they're quick, and they're trying to get that quick start. Right now, Fort Dodge is the measuring stick, the barometer in this tournament. They lost to Carroll Kuemper, 2 points in overtime, and they beat West Waterloo in double overtime. They're the barometer.
We're looking at Oswald as they go around the perimeter of the zone. They get it into David, working against Crooks. Goes back outside.
Oh, was he tempted for a three-pointer?
That's Oswald. It's 2 if he hits it. Give Oswald 4. He's averaging 5. So you have some of the lesser lights coming to the fore so far in the tournament.
After the timeout, Fort Dodge got 4 in a row. Now Kuemper counters with 4 more.
Right on. Second time they lead by 6. This is Clark with the right hand. Nifty move in the lane by Thomas Clark.
He's listed 5'11". I don't think he's that big.
No, I've got him at 5'10". He's a sophomore. He scored 13 in the win over Dowling, averaging 14.5, so he can put it in the hole.
Not many sophomores ever play at Fort Dodge.
That's right. And this is a young man's tourney, isn't it, Mitch? We have a lot of underclassmen. And you'll be recounting that for us as the tournament progresses. Crooks on the rebound. The big guy is very, very smooth. Don't let his bulk fool you. He's a slick mover. He can get off his feet. Takes up a lot of space, and he's got a shooting touch. Not that time. Murphy on the follow-up over the back. And that was Bill Deers, his first personal foul.
That's the first foul called on Carroll Kuemper in almost 6 minutes of play.
Each team has one now.
You take a look at it, you see him take a swat at the ball, but he got a hand instead.
The basketball belongs to Fort Dodge. We've got a change coming in for Carroll Kuemper, and that's Frank Molak, M-O-L-A-K, coming into the lineup. And now Mike Prenger, a 6'2" senior, P-R-E-N-G-E-R, coming in as well. Both changes are for Kuemper.
And Kuemper gave up some size, about 4 inches on that trade.
Clark has just hit his second consecutive basket. He has a total of 4. That was that baseliner from about 16 that you just saw, David in the front court.
Now Fort Dodge has scored twice in 4-point bursts. They have their 8 points.
The difference is 2. Kuemper with a couple. Handling it outside is Molak. Giving to Prenger. Nurse over on the far side to Molak. To Prenger in the lane. Will he try it? Yep, from about 10. The rebound, Murphy. Clears it up to J.D. And Crumley with the right hand quickly into that west court here at Des Moines. Drops it into Lamica, who goes to Crooks. I told you he was smooth. First scoring for Crooks, who's averaging 14. He had 17 in the Dowling win. And he got especially tough in the final quarter in that ball game. So despite the bulk, he can move. There's our first tie. Fort Dodge is yet to lead.
Not for long.
Nope. Back to 12-10. Murphy on the far side. Crooks looking. Lamica might have been caught on the way in. He was. They're going to whistle the foul against Prenger. You saw David pleading the traveling call. Kuemper's got it by 2. The ball belongs to Lamica out of bounds.
For big ball clubs, there have not been many fouls. That's 2 on Kuemper, 1 team foul on Fort Dodge.
Gehling goes out, Deers goes in. And now we have Oswald coming back in, and going out will be Nurse. Those are all changes for Kuemper.
Under a minute, Mark, with 58 seconds.
Opening frame. They bring it out to Murphy. Goes right back to Lamica on the inbounds play, and the foul is going to be whistled against Prenger. He gets too quickly.
And will be shooting this time.
Yeah. And the basket, of course, counted.
Fouls on 22 White.
On this boy's right knee, you'll see the bandage when he gets to the free throw line. I was talking about Brian Lamica. Got that injury in football. And here they're going to go in up tight right there. You can see the foul. Lamica will be the man doing the shooting. But he was an all-state safety in football and all Big 8 conference as well as the offensive quarterback. Got the knee, had orthoscopic surgery after the season, and is back in the state tournament.
That orthoscopic surgery has really put a lot of people back in a hurry. Lamica has a total of 5 now as he hits the free throw. He's 57% from the line with his free throw shooting. Not particularly distinguished, but he was excellent on that attempt. Fort Dodge has the lead by 1. First time they've been out in front. 13-12. 45 seconds left to go. Quarter number 1, 3A semifinal. The winner gets to take on West Waterloo. Oswald, Prenger coming out on top to Molak. Prenger operating against the zone. Deers goes inside to David over the top of Crooks.
Nice.
That's 4 for David on a couple of field goals, as I said, averaging 20 and a half.
You know, you're seeing him play with his back to the basket here. Lute Olson, who's here, said he'll play forward in college. He won't play with the back to the bucket.
That's Murphy going over the top of Deers with that left hand. It won't fall. And let's see. They're going to call somebody on the arm. David gets a personal foul. He might have whacked Jimmy Crooks on the arm. David's first personal foul. He has not had a foul trouble during the year, Mitch.
Not at all. He is a very agile athlete. He's played in the big summer camps. He's a smart basketball player, but that is 4 team fouls on Kuemper. Fort Dodge with 1. That means very shortly Fort Dodge will be going to the line the rest of the half.
Murphy with the shot over Craig Broyles, the 6'5", who just checked in. The follow-up by Lamica, and he is fouled, and the foul against Oswald.
Lamica is really in there mixing it up right now. You can see why he was an all-state safety. He likes that contact.
Lamica 1 for 1 from the line. At 13 in the win over Dowling.
Now here's a weapon in a tight ball game, Mark. You're 14-13, but Kuemper's on the line for the whole second quarter and 8 seconds more here. Fort Dodge isn't even close to that.
We could be tied for the second time. We're tied at 10. And for the second time, Fort Dodge could take the lead by just 1. They've been down by 6 twice here in the early going.
Lamica's
basketball left.
57%er. He also ran on the relays at the state track meet last year.
The rebound, Murphy. No good to the left hand. Crooks tried to tip in, no good. Oswald clears. Here comes Carroll Kuemper with a second left. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. Carroll Kuemper 14, Fort Dodge 14. We'll be back after this word from your local station.
The University of Arizona setting up in section 42 on a busman's holiday.
David has 4 in the opening frame. Oswald has 4. 6 points for Lamica to lead in scoring for Fort Dodge. 4 for Thomas Clark. Okay, Crooks and David, jumping center, second period. Even Steven after 8. And it is Oswald. Oswald and Deers and J.D. Crumley, David and Gehling. Same way they started.
You can just feel the respect on offense that both these teams have for each other.
1-3-1 zone now is what they're working against. Inside to David, over the top of Crooks. Doesn't get it. The rebound goes to Lamica. Slapped out of his hands by J.D., but by Nurse rather, but Lamica retains it.
Mark, I'm going to correct you. You said a 1-3-1. When Crooks is deep, it's a 1-3-1.5.
Stepped on the line. Murphy coming underneath, got the ball. But he had his foot on the line, so as a result on the turnover, Kuemper gets it. As I said, Crooks has lost 30 pounds. He has great movement, and he plays a lot of basketball. They don't rest him often.
I'll appreciate it if you don't mention who found the 30 pounds.
We have Oswald handling that basketball. To Deers. Penetration by J.D. Did he travel? He did.
Yep. He did everything right, but he took just a little quick strike.
Some of the officials in the stands, of course, taking issue with the officials on the floor.
That was the umpire, Charlie Britton from Waverly, that made the call. He's working with referee Randy Kretzy from Cedar Rapids.
Quite a plum for them to get to work in the state tournament.
Hey, that's as competitive as it is for the ball players.
And by and large, they do a marvelous job. But you can have it. You can't win being an official. That's Clark on the far side. J.D. Crumley. The rebound goes to Deers. You saw him come up out of the toaster, clean it neatly. 14 all. We've gone a minute and a half without any scoring here in the second frame. Inside to David. Lost the handle on it, and Lamica picks up the loose change. Heads west in a hurry. Clark.
Just plain speed. Got that one.
His third field goal. Averaging 14 and a half. He had 13 in the Dowling win.
Boy, you could see him coming up that sideline on that passing lane all the way.
Fort Dodge's biggest lead, 2 points. 16-14. Give it over to Nurse. Gailing. They just work it around that outside.
And
sit and enjoy it. Inside to David, fouled from behind by Murphy.
Only the second foul on Fort Dodge, and we played already about 10 minutes of basketball.
Get the ball.
We're under 6 with Fort Dodge leading by a couple. Carroll Kuemper had led by 6 on a couple of occasions early going in the first quarter. Good ball game so far. West Waterloo waiting in the wings, Mitch.
Both of these teams making their 6th appearance in the state tournament.
Have not won a title. They go inside to David. Oswald, free throw line extended, about a 16-footer, I judge.
We mentioned earlier that Fort Dodge girls won the state championship here a week ago. Carroll Kuemper's girls were here in 1981.
6 for Oswald. We are knotted again for the 3rd time. They go inside to Crook, slapped out of his hands by David. They'll re-award the ball to Fort Dodge.
For those that have been with us, Mark, so far this afternoon, both games, an absolute contrast in philosophies of this basketball game and the other run and gun affair.
Which is going to make it interesting in the championship, regardless of which team goes up against West Waterloo.
Yep.
J.D. out in front.
Who can get the other team to play their game?
Really? Did he get him on the arm? He did. Quickly whistled against Nurse.
And that puts, here's that situation, puts Fort Dodge or Kuemper going to the line where that's going to be a big difference. You take it, you'll see him come there, got him right on the wrist. He went for the ball. But Fort Dodge will be on the line, one and maybe, and that's a big weapon in a game this close.
They've got a 69%er on the line, Frosty. 12.5-point average. He had 12 in the game against Dowling, so he's having a representative tournament this far, but not on that free throw attempt. The rebound goes into the hands of Roger Gailing, and he gives it up to Nurse. Nurse quickly in the east end of the court. A high pass to Deer. How did he get that? Spectacular play by Bill Deer. He has a total of 4. He fouled out of the Cedar Rapids Washington game. 2 field goals here, averaging 8.5. Splendid play. 18-16. The difference is 2. Kuemper is up. Lamica ties it for the 4th time. 18 all.
This might be one of those.
It makes you glad you came.
The last time they played, it ended in overtime. Kuemper by 2.
4:40 and counting. Second period into David.
But Lamica was not in that game.
Murphy did the kick. They'll give the ball out of bounds to Carroll Kuemper, and that makes a difference. You take a guy like Lamica out of that lineup, Mitch.
You bet.
And hey,
that was Murphy's law that time.
Kick it. When you can't grab it, kick it. Murphy's law. Oswald. Nurse with a right hand from 19.
They call him the school nurse, and you can understand why.
He's hit 14 out of 30 3-pointers, almost 50%, so he's a splendid shooter. That's 4 points for him here. With a 20-18 ball game, Kuemper out back in the lead by 2. The foul is going to be whistled against Bill Deers, and that's his second personal foul.
And Mike Murphy, the man you were talking about down low a moment ago, is going to be the fella going to the line.
As Mitch recounted, those free throws now could become a factor. Definitely so here in this final 4 minutes of the second period.
One of the few left-handers in this tournament this year. Kids call him Murph. Plays golf left-handed.
Excellent touch.
Very well.
Nothing happens that time as David gets the free throw rebound. And they bring it up to Nurse with a little over 4 left to go. Half the quarter left. Dropped for Oswald. Back out to Nurse. Deers from 19. 6 points for Deers, playing very well. 22-18. The spread is 4. Kuemper's led by 6, trailed by 2. It's been tied 4 times. Second quarter, Murphy handling it, gives it to J.D. Crumley. Crumley from about 21. It'll be a two-pointer.
What was on the line?
He has a total of 2. Missed an earlier free throw attempt. Kuemper out in front by 2 now, 22 to 20. They have the basketball. Deers in the front court. Gives to David. Will he try it from outside? Shows the coach what he can do from 17.5 feet. May have to do that in college.
Hey, the tempo's picked up.
24-20, back by 4. Kuemper, 6 for David. Inside to Crooks. Over the top of David. It doesn't go. The rebound goes to Murphy. They strip him. The rebound picked up by Nurse.
I don't know quite how to describe Crooks' shot.
I don't either. It was
unorthodox.
Modified hook, I guess. Off the hip. Someone gets him on the hand. That someone is J.D. Crumley. But that's his first.
That's only their third team foul, and we've now played 13 minutes of basketball.
We've got a change coming in for Kuemper, and that's Molak, who's been in before. We have a timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 24, Fort Dodge 20. Now this word from your local station. Carroll Kuemper out in front, 24-20. Kuemper coached by Wayne Shanley. Mitch in his 11th year. He's had a great career. Lived here in the 70s, 76, 78, and 79 he was here.
Right, that was the Fort Dodge.
Is Reinerson, yeah.
Reiners, he's, I think, their 6th coach in the last 12 years. He was a sophomore coach for a long time. He's moved up, and here he is in the big circle. That's Wayne Shanley we're talking about there from Kuemper. He's, golly, he knows the road to Des Moines.
I said Reiners is batting 900. That's not too bad of a record, right?
No, sir.
We continue here in the second frame as you look at Molak handle it up on top for Kuemper, which leads by 4. Has led by 6, has trailed by a couple. Deers looking inside at Craig Broyles, who has been reinserted in the lineup, number 44. He's 6'5". This is a tall Kuemper team. They have to be. Fort Dodge is not short. Oswald. Broyles. Gailing. Deers. Molak. Reacquaint you with the players. We're coming down to 2:20 and counting. Molak like shooting a free throw. We have a foul over the back by Deers.
And that'll belong parade to the West End because Fort Dodge, as we've mentioned, will be on the line. They've had this free throw opportunity for over a quarter, but they haven't made it pay off. You take another look when they go back up after this rebound, and I think you'll see the foul. There it is, as he was leaning back into it.
We have Deers for 3 personal fouls, and that's accurate as the official score agrees. We may have a change for him coming in.
Mike Bringer.
Yep. Nurse, David, Gailing, Prenger in there currently, along with Molak. That's the 5 playing for Carroll Kuemper. That's David.
1-1.
With Lama
talking to Prenger.
Going the line, we mentioned they've won state championships in girls volleyball, wrestling, girls basketball, been to football playoffs. Coach said if there's any pressure added by that, it's self-imposed, yet he feels there is some motivation because of it. The boys want to do what the girls did, I suppose.
He's 3 out of 4 from the line here this afternoon. Has a total of 7 points, averaging 6.5. So everything from here on in is gravy for Lamica. 24-22. It narrows as Prenger brings the ball into the front court, gives to Nurse. Nurse moves, and I think he's hooked by Murphy.
Murphy thought it was an offensive foul, but referee didn't see it that way.
I think got one of his long arms in the way.
But they're still not shooting, Mark. And Fort Dodge has not made those free throw opportunities, and they've had for 9 minutes that advantage and has not made it pay.
That's Murphy's second personal. Out to David against J.D. and Clark.
Now David can shoot from out there.
So can Gailing.
You bet.
Gailing's first scoring of the afternoon. He's averaging 8.5. We told you at career high 21 in the win over Cedar Rapids. Washington gets his first 2 here today, 26-22. Crooks over David again. Half hook, half shot. I don't know. And Clark on the foul, his second.
And now Kuemper will go to the free throw line because finally Fort Dodge has that 15 foul.
Crooks' shot selection that we've noticed has not been particularly
Take a look at it. There's the shot. Now watch him come up right there from behind.
And you've got to credit David for that because Crooks is simply trying to get the shot off over the big stick and having trouble doing it.
Molak, I think, will be the man.
That's correct. Looking for his first scoring of the afternoon. Molak did not score in the win over Cedar Rapids. Washington played a little bit in reserve.
He's playing with a broken nose right now, incidentally, from the Cedar Rapids-Washington ball game. You see no tape on his face or anything, but they think he broke his nose.
Coach says he's getting better and better as a player. The ball slapped out of Molak's hands, but maybe Gehling got his arm.
Out of bounds.
Or is it stepped out, huh? Okay.
Ryan David, he thought maybe it was a foul, but it was out of bounds.
Okay.
That was referee Charles Britton working that baseline. Randy Krejci from Cedar Rapids, man working also on the whistle out there today, is his 10th state tournament.
Well, our referees are wired here this afternoon, and we hope you can hear them talking on occasion. They talk to these young men, and they try to be very, very helpful. That's Clark on the shot. Beautiful shot by Clark. 4 field goals for that sophomore. 26-24, Fort Dodge now trailing by 2 as Molak in the backcourt works against Clark, gives to Nurse, who works against Crumley. Down to 1:15 left to go. Prenger in and out of the hands of Gehling, but retrieved by Molak. Minute 10. 2-point difference. Good ball game. 3A semifinal. The winner takes on West Waterloo. The loser Burlington in consolation. Gehling to David. David from about 17 and a half. Bango. 8 points for the Big Stick. All on field goals. 28-24. Kuemper up by 4 now. J.D. Crumley with a nifty move. It doesn't fall. Slapped up by Jimmy Clark out of bounds. Molak tries to save it, but no luck. Coming back in is Johnny Oswald. And Prenger checks out. That's a Kuemper change. We've got a timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 28, Fort Dodge 24. Now this word from your local station. The fans enjoying themselves here at tournament basketball. That obviously the Carroll Kuemper group. Fort Dodge is here in great numbers as well. We have an outstanding afternoon crowd for the 3A semifinal games. We have 42 seconds left till intermission. David, Gehling, Molak, along with Nurse in the lineup with Oswald. As Kuemper gets the basketball, David takes the pass in, gets across the timeline. Molak feeds it to Nurse. Nurse with a nice baseline pass to Gehling, who gets his 6th point on his 3rd field goal. 6 for Gehling. 30-24. It is 6. Carroll Kuemper for the 3rd time, its biggest lead of the ball game. Fort Dodge is led by 2. That was its biggest lead. The ball passed off the back of Molak, picked up, however, and let's see, a scramble for it, and a foul is going to be called on David. You saw him wince. The big guy winces.
Number 5, 2.
And on the line will be Rob Thorson, a 6'1" senior, just inserted into the lineup. They pulled David, and they bring in Craig Broyles. That's a change for Carroll Kuemper. So now we look at Rob Thorson, Thorson, a 6'1" senior. Been a great player off the bench for this club. His first scoring of the tournament. 30-25.
Job on the lanes. Wait till it leaves his hand.
By a Nicholsworth, Carroll Kuemper. Got them both. 79% from the line. He's a good free throw shooter, and he proved it. We have another change coming in for Fort Dodge. This will be Ed Larson, 6'1" senior, giving Clark a rest. So Larson and Thorson are in that lineup. As Kuemper brings up the ball, that's Boyles. To Molak up on top. Over on the far side to Gehling, over the top of Jimmy Crook. Gehling has a total of 8. And that's it. That's the end of the first half. With the score, Carroll Kuemper 32, Fort Dodge 26. We'll be back after this word from your local station. A good second quarter has given Carroll Kuemper the lead here at intermission. It was knotted at 14-all after the first quarter of play, but Kuemper outscores Fort Dodge 18-12 in the second period and leads 32-26. The 4th time they've led by 6. It's been their biggest spread. We've been tied 4 times, however. The last time was at 18. Fort Dodge led once by 2. That was in the second quarter. They led by 1 in the early first quarter. Still a pretty close ball game, an interesting ball game, and two teams giving us a different look than what we saw in our opener in 3A semifinal play earlier. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in a moment after this pause for station identification. Well, as we've recounted to you before, old friends, it's a 4-class tournament this time around. We have A, 1A, 2A, and 3A. So an extra day of tournament basketball has been added, making it a 6-day tournament, Monday through Saturday. This obviously is the second last day of the event. While Frosty's getting ready with coaches Garvin and Monkey, will be meeting here later tonight for the second championship. We'll be back with the start of the second half after this word from your local station. Well, we'll have a 1A championship decided in our final game tonight between Nashua and Grundy Center. Here are two men who are going to be deeply involved with that ball game, visiting with Frosty Mitchell.
Well, state of Iowa, in just about 5 hours, these two men will square off for the state 1A basketball championship. You're looking at Dave Narvin from Nashua, Lowell Monke from Grundy Center. First of all, Dave Garvin from Nashua. You're playing about 5 hours for all the marbles. How do you feel?
It's a great feeling, Frosty. I don't know if it's really sunk in for me or the kids yet, though.
Well, what do you have to do to beat Grundy Center?
Just play our game. We want to get the ball inside to Steve and let Tim do his thing out front and slow down their running game a little bit, and I think we'll be okay.
He says Steve. He's talking about Steve Fife. He's a big one. How big is he?
Steve's 6'9", about 185, 190 pounds.
Well, that's the scouting report from Nashua. Now at Grundy Center, they're 21-4. Lowell Monke, how do your kids feel looking for the next 5 hours?
You say, what are they feeling?
Yeah.
I think they're pretty calm at this point. We've been saying all along that football championship that they won in the last fall was going to be a big advantage to them. They've been through it before, so I think they feel real confident that they can handle whatever pressure comes along with this.
Lowell, the fact that you were rated early, then not rated, did that mean much to your ball club?
Not really. We felt that the reason we dropped out of the ratings is because we lost 3 kids all at once right at Christmas time. Dana Venegay broke his foot, and he was our leading rebounder and leading scorer at the time. So the kids felt that though we were losing a few games at that time, it wasn't really what we were going to be like at the end of the season.
All right. Coach, you were rated early, not rated at the end of the season. Did that motivate your ball club?
I think so. You know, last year we had a pretty fine club, too, and we didn't get rated at all, so we were pretty well kept secret last year. We started out third and got beat in our third game and dropped out, so we used that to keep the kids going this year.
Dave, you had a young man named Fife that was pretty highly recruited this year. That put any extra burden on you as a coach?
No, I don't think so. It was a great experience, though, meeting all those Division I coaches that came in. We just, I suppose during the preseason now when they all came in, I wanted to be on the meetings and maybe a little bit extra time. As far as the burden, I really enjoyed it. I don't think it was any extra work.
Lowell Monke, your kids put on a real charge yesterday. Sioux Center had you down bad at the start, third quarter. Could you believe that comeback you did?
We were just about ready to give up ourselves, I'm afraid. We didn't, we were more dejected than anything because Sioux Center just was beating us at every part of the game. But Greg Boss got us fired up, and these kids won't quit. They got some old-fashioned values about hard work. And once they got started, then we felt a lot more confident again.
Lowell, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Lowell Monke from Grundy Center, Dave Garvin from Nashua. They meet in just 5 hours for the state 1A championship. Let's go back to Mark Sellers.
We'll be back with the start of the second half after this word from your local station. A quick look at some of the highlights of the opening half of play. You're going to take a look at Lamica of Fort Dodge initially, driving the baseline to pick up a couple of points. Fort Dodge trailing here at intermission, but on that nifty move, 2 for Lamica. Now it's Nurse in action for Carroll Kuemper. This was a long attempt, but it was not a three-pointer. Nurse has 4 at halftime. Now let's take a look at Clark pumping from the baseline for Fort Dodge, hitting 2 for the Dodgers, a big 2 on that inbound bounce pass. Now a nifty pass. Look at Deers give this pass to David. David doing what comes naturally, goes high into the air from about that 8-footer. Once again back to Lamica. Lamica this time going over to Clark. And Clark, with a nifty speed, moves in, gracefully lays it up and home. And Clark spinning off of that free throw on the jump shot and wrapping it home. Here this one comes. Watch the spin to his left, all the way around, squares up, and right on. We're ready to go with the third quarter. It'll be jump ball. Jimmy Crooks going up against David. David at halftime has 8. Crooks has 1 field goal, which is a telling statistic in itself. 6 free throws for Fort Dodge in that first half. None for Carroll Kuemper, but Kuemper leads 32-26 as we get underway here in the third period. Looking at David go over the top of Crooks. Give him 10. Now it is 34-26. That's an 8-point spread, and that is the biggest lead of the ball game here as we start the third. Kuemper enjoys it. Clark trying to narrow it, working around Oswald, tips it up on the follow-through, no good. The rebound to David. Here come the Knights of Carroll Kuemper, the red and gold. 21-2. The shot attempt is by Deers, gets part of it, but not all of it. Jimmy Crooks after the rebound sweeps it, gives it to J.D. Crumley, who moves into the lane, and was he fouled? He was by Nurse. That on Nurse, personal foul number 1, and the first foul, of course, of this second half of play. Just underway. Here's a look at it again. The spin around, and apparently the left hand and moving into him a little bit from that far side. Lamica will be the trigger man, gets it into Clark. Out to J.D. to Murphy. Almost threw it away, retrieved by J.D. Crumley. Down to 7. 34-26, 3A semifinal. The winner gets West Waterloo. The loser gets Burlington in consolation. Into Jimmy Crooks, looking for his second field goal. Still looking. The rebound goes to Nurse. Carroll Kuemper with a long pass down. Nurse to David, rejected by Crooks, out of bounds. Top-notch defense. And the appreciative Dodger fans respond. Here's another look at the timing. 6'8" against 6'9". Out on top to David, to Deers. And now to Nurse, and they set it up. Collapse on David. He wheels and deals. Crooks caught him on the arm. That on Crooks is his initial personal foul. And it'll be a shooting foul. Each team now has 1 in the second half. Frosty looking forward to that matchup in Class A and in 1A tonight.
That's the first time we've ever crowned 2 state champions on Friday night, and don't be late, 6:30. There's action in those divisions.
Fine young coaches handling those ball clubs. Looking forward to a great deal of excitement tonight. Pretty intense about this time, aren't they? All right, David has his 11th point, his first free throw. He's an 83%er from the line, and that, of course, make Lute Olson smile, too. 35-26. Could pump it up to 10. Does not. 9 it stays. 6.5 left to go approximately here in the third. Lamica looking into Jimmy Crooks. Over the top of David. Still won't go. Murphy on the follow-up. No way. And the rebound picked up by Clark. Almost fouled. He puts it up short. David comes up off of the trampoline.
Goes to show you he can not only sky, but he's strong.
Gives it over to Oswald, and Oswald immediately heads west here at Des Moines. Drops it for Nurse.
Carroll Kuemper, of course, is the last hope of the parochials for this year. Cedar Rapids, LaSalle, and Dowling were both here, but got beat.
Oswald, a 21-footer. He touched the line. Give him a total of 8 on 4 field goals. He's averaging 5, so he's playing well. The spread is 11.
And we're out in front. We'll have a private school in Hull Western Christian also playing tomorrow night for a state title.
They have played well. Lamica working hard, can't get it. Crooks on the tip-in.
Crooks does that very well. I'm not sure I like that shot of his. It's unorthodox. It's not a hook. It's not a shot. It's not a shot put. It's individual.
It's Crooks. It's his second field goal. He's been held to 4 points so far. He's averaging 14. Scored 17 in the opening game win. The rebound taken off by Lamica, brought down quickly by J.D. Crumley. Go on the far side to Clark. Clark underneath David. Too big. Gets it out to Lamica. He'll try it. And fouled on the shot by Galing.
Boy, he gave him a lot of moves to earn that foul also. Head and shoulder fakes, a lot of pivots.
Galing with his first personal foul. Galing hit 4 out of 4 field goals in that first half. He had 21 in the opening ball game against Cedar Rapids, Washington, so the tournament has gone well for him. We have a change coming in. Here's Molak.
Fort Dodge, at this point, Fort Dodge is the highest rated ball club left, with Burlington being beaten this afternoon. Fort Dodge came in rated number 2. Carroll Kuemper was rated number 4, despite the fact they beat Fort Dodge during the year. 2 points in overtime.
Lamica goes to the well, comes up empty that time. He has a total of 10 points in the first half. He has hit 4 out of 6 free throws.
Fort Dodge needing everything they can muster right now.
Lamica is not a particularly good free throw shooter at 57%. Better that time. Give him 11. He's averaging 6.5, so he's having a good ball game. He had 13 against Dowling, so he's having a good tournament. But right now his ball club is on the short end of a 37-29 score, and it's a traveling violation called on Oswald.
What you don't need is a fundamental mistake.
What the Dodgers need is the ball, and they get it. 5 minutes left to go.
When you start your 4-class tournament with 486 teams, they counted off the top 64 in enrollments, called them AAA, and that's what you have out here.
Jimmy Crooks, nice touch. He may be warming to the task now. He has a total of 6 points on 3 field goals. 37-31. They narrow it to 6 after being down by 11.
Boy, that referee was to a 4 count on that inbounds pass, too.
Oswald in the backcourt to Molak. Gives it to Deers, who in turn gives it to Gailing.
Now, Fort Dodge did some pressing in the first half, but not like this. This is a sellout. They're going for the ball this time.
David underneath, and all that traffic gets it out to Oswald.
Brian Davids from Templeton, Iowa.
Getting it around, they get it off to Oswald, partially blocked, and a foul on Murphy.
Obviously, most of the Fort Dodge kids come from Fort Dodge. David's going over to the bench right now to talk to his coach.
Fort Dodge was using a zone earlier, Mitch, and I've been trying to look in there, and I don't know if they're disguising it that well. I've been trying to pick up if it's man-to-man or zone.
All right, take a look at this. There's one body on the floor already, but Murphy went up and got the shooter on the hand.
And the shooter is Oswald.
John
He has
Oswald.
8 points, 47% from the free throw line. This is his first attempt from the charity stripe.
He's the fullback on their fine football team. The kids call him Eyes. A fullback that was a sprinter on the track team, and he also plays baseball at Carroll Kuemper.
Does a little pitching, I understand. Gets part of the rim, but that's all. Misses the second free throw. 10 with 9. It's 38-31, a 7-point lead. The Dodgers trail. They have the ball. And it comes out to J.D. Crumley. What does the J.D. stand for, Mitch?
That's a good question.
Aha! The rebound is swept off by David. He brings it to Gailing. Gailing will try it over Lamica and gets it. Lamica fouled it.
I'll answer your question. It stands for John David. J.D.
Here's another
Here
look
they
at
come.
it.
You got off the feet too early. That's exactly what you can't help do.
We have a timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 40, Fort Dodge 31. Now this word from your local station. That's the 9-point spread. It has been 11 in favor of Carroll Kuemper, which has outscored Fort Dodge 8-5 here in the early going in the third.
Mark, there's a benefit basketball game coming up in Des Moines that some of these kids no doubt will be in. For the Iowa Convalescent Home, it'll be here in Des Moines April 2nd, a doubleheader. They'll play March 30th against the Minnesota All-Stars up at Williams Arena. 6 o'clock that night, the Iowa College All-Stars against athletes fighting substance abuse. Then the Iowa High School All-Stars against the Minnesota High School All-Stars. And tickets are on sale here at Vets. Proceeds Iowa Convalescent Home.
Roger Gailing on the line. You watched him miss. The rebound went to the Dodgers, and here's Fort Dodge in the front court quickly. Crooks going over the top of Broyles.
I like that shot. He gets up, and he's got a nice soft release.
Right off of the fingers.
It's that turnaround shot that bothers me.
He started scoring slowly, but as I said, warmed to the task. He has a total of 8 now, and the spread is 7. Carroll Kuemper with the lead and the ball. You're looking at Molak as he advances into the west court here at Des Moines. Nice pass underneath the Broyles.
Wasn't that fine?
Broyles' first scoring of the afternoon, 42-33. The Dodgers come close, and Kuemper immediately responds. Lamica goes into Crooks. Crooks over Broyles. Air ball. Lamica. The overlay. The rebound taken off by Clark. Brings it to Thorson. Bangs it home. Offense.
No
taken
basket.
away from him.
Right. In high school rule, if there's an offensive foul, there cannot be a basket. That takes the judgment call away from the official.
Rob Thorson on the action there.
You take a look at it. The man is set with both feet, he is, and that's why it's an offensive foul.
So we have Oswald come back into the lineup. David comes back into the lineup. Deers goes out. Those are changes for Kuemper. We have 3 minutes left.
You've got Kuemper with 2 team fouls, Fort Dodge with 3. You shoot on 5.
We're in the third period. Comes in to Gailing. He gives it to David. And to Nurse. Nurse getting around Thorson.
Mark, I mentioned the Fort Dodge kids come pretty much from Fort Dodge, obviously, but these Carroll kids come a lot of places. That one comes from Templeton, Iowa, in the diocese.
Nurse on the assist. That made the play. That's a total of 13 for David.
Towns
Super
represented, in addition to Templeton, are Dedham, Willie, Roselle, Halber, Arcadia, Vale, Litterdale, Glidden, Maple River, Breda, and Mount Carmel.
Jimmy Crooks with that soft touch on that fadeaway and narrows it down to 9. It was at 11 for the second time a moment ago. Crooks has a total of 5 field goals for 10 points. He had 2 in the first quarter and just 2 in the second. So he's picked it up here in the third, but his ball club is down 44-35. Molak giving it to Gailing. Against the zone. 15-footer. Perfect by Oswald. Oswald playing very well. He has a total of 11.
He is a role player, and he plays the role very, very well.
By 11 for the third time, 46-35. Bell ringer by Clark.
3. Tommy Clark made 9 out of 24 during the regular season from that 3-point range. That'd be 35%.
Total of 11 points. 46-38. It helps to narrow it a little bit.
Also kind of fires up the crowd. Gets them in the game.
You're looking at Molak operating against Clark. Drops it here for Nurse. Nurse will try it from 19. Draws some iron. Oh, Clark up out of the toaster. You saw him in front of David with a big rebound. Gives it to Thorson. Lamaka inside to Crooks, and he tried that different shot that Mitch was trying to describe to you.
But he drew a big foul on Brian David.
Is what he was looking for, more perhaps than the score. David has personal foul number 3. First one of the second half.
But they're making a change. Is it David? Nope. David's going to stay in.
Gailing goes out, and we have a timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 46, for Dodge 38. Now this word from your local station. With just 1:16 left to go here in the third, there you see the spread of 8. It has been 11. It was a total of 6 at halftime, 32-26 in favor of Carroll Kuemper. And with time back in, we'll have Jimmy Crooks on the line, the 6'8" senior. He can get up off his feet. He can stuff the ball. As we've recounted to you, don't let his size fool you. He's got great movement.
He loves to slam.
Share shots.
Loves to slam dunk. He can't do that from the free throw line. He was unanimous All Big 8 conference, and that was a tough league.
Broken ankle as a sophomore, but has come over that very, very well.
Well, Carroll made that timeout pay. They iced him for a moment.
Well, he's 44% on the season from the line, Mitch, so that goes to show you free throws have come tough for him. Giving him 11. The Dodgers 39.
Watch the full court pressure go on now.
Yep. David in backcourt takes the ball from Nurse. Looks like a 1-2-2 zone press. But Nurse breaks it and gives the ball off to Oswald.
A lot of strategy in those timeouts, changing the defensive pressures.
Inside to David over the top of Jimmy Crooks.
Crooks just let him up there. He wasn't going to give him a 3-point play.
15 for David. Averaging 20.5. He scored 15 in the opening round game against Cedar Rapids, Washington. The shot attempt not good, and the foul is going to be called on whom? Oswald?
That's the 4th team foul on Kuemper. You have 4 already on Fort Dodge. So the rest of this ball game, somebody goes to the free throw line when the whistle sounds, unless you'd have a player control foul.
And Oswald has his second personal. The change has Deers going out of the lineup and Gailing coming back in. Gailing, of course, was a starter. Now Lamaka on the line getting a pair. Has 11 points, 5 of them by free throws. He made 4 out of his last 5.
Win over Dowling, he was only 1 for 4 at the charity stripe.
He's 57%, as we mentioned before. But he's warming.
Pressure player.
Yep.
You'd want him there in the clutch.
All-around athlete. 38 seconds left to go. 48-41. The difference is 7 points. Carroll Kuemper as we come up to the end of the third quarter of play here. 30 seconds now. Nurse. Molak, 17.5 feet away. The rebound taken by Gehling. Lost it. They let it go out of bounds. They'll re-award the ball to Carroll Kuemper.
Well, that's good stage presence. Molak knew where the ball was and who had touched it last. He just let it go out.
Indeed. And it's Nurse putting it in play to Molak. As we get down to 20, you look at the countdown on the screen. It'll be Clark. His third.
Clark tried to get at the acting award that time. No Emmy, no Grammy.
That'll work.
Personal foul.
Shoot it. Okay.
Officials are tough.
You can see it right here. He's trying to anchor both feet, but one was moving, and the official then called it on the defense. Blocking.
So Molak takes a rehearsal shot.
Little
And now
psycho-cybernetics.
will attempt to do it with the right hand under the 1-and-1. Nope. The rebound comes off to Lamica. We're down to 15. And that's Rob Thorson, number 15, handling the basketball. Gives it. Turn to Lamica. Lamica from 17 feet away.
Big bucket. He has the last 4 points on this rush. 2 free throws and a bucket.
15 points for Lamica. There's the shot attempt. It is not good. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Carroll Kuemper 48, for Dodge 43. We'll be back after this word from your local station.
Don't think I know him, Mark.
Looks like somebody you would know, Mitch.
Well, you can't beat fun at the old ballpark, and we got 8 minutes of fun coming.
Indeed we do. Interesting to note that Murphy, Frosty, has been held very much in check by Carroll Kuemper. He's only managed 1 field goal, but Lamica, on the other hand, averaging about 6, has come through at 15 to offset that. And then you look at Carroll Kuemper, you notice that they're not getting a lot out of Nurse, who's averaging 12. He's only got 4. But then Oswald has come through. He's picking up the scoring. So it's interesting how sometimes the bigger gun gives way to the lesser light. And when you can have it picked up by those lesser lights, that could make the difference between victory and defeat.
That's why they put 5 guys out there and call it a team.
You better believe it. Well said. Nurse looking inside to David. Back to Nurse. 21 feet. 2-pointer.
He is important. What an athlete. Well, Mark, Waterloo is now down by 7 points. But against Dowling, they were only up 1 at the third quarter and put 22 points up in the fourth quarter to win it.
That's Lamica's shot that goes astray, and the rebound was taken off underneath by Nurse. Deers broke down floor, but Nurse did not see him. Wisely held up. Fort Dodge won the battle of the third quarter 17-16. That's Oswald. As we said, Oswald is picked up beautifully here, scoring 13 in this ball game after only scoring 1 in the Cedar Rapids Washington win and averaging 5. Clark trying the baseline. Did he step out, or he was fouled by Oswald on the way in?
I think they ruled a foul.
Has his third personal, his second of this half. 52-43. It's at 9. 7 minutes left to play. Clark can move it a little bit closer. Carroll Kuemper has led by 11 on 3 different occasions. That's been his biggest lead. It trailed by 2 back in the second quarter. We were tied the last time at 18 all.
This is a real good athlete. He had 23 points, including a 3-point play in the overtime with Waterloo West during the regular season. Football player also, halfback.
The second one comes off long. That's Clark reaching in. 4 for him.
That was frustration, Mark. He was mad at himself for missing the free throw, and he tried to put on the hero mantle and reached in out of frustration.
Fort Dodge out-rebounded Kuemper 15-6 in the third quarter of play.
That was Coach Wayne Chandlee to Brian David, giving him the shoot signal. He wants him to take the shots.
All right, we've got Deers on the line. Scored 6 in the opening half. He has not scored since. Not played that much. Deers with the right hand.
He fouled out of the Cedar Rapids Washington ball game with about a minute and a half to go.
Yep.
His brother Dave Deers was on the state tournament team in '78.
Got another year, of course. He's a junior. Gets the best forward when he's playing defense. So they respect his ability there. Give him a total of 8. His first scoring in the second half. He's averaging 8 a ball game. He scored 12 in the win against Cedar Rapids Washington a couple of days ago. Clark for 3, gets the iron out of bounds, and they'll award the ball to him.
Foul on Fort Dodge.
That's 5 on Thomas Clark.
He's gone.
Yep.
A good sophomore.
2 big years left at Fort Dodge.
Not many sophomores ever start for Fort Dodge, Iowa.
There's a look at a disappointed coach. Yep, that hurts. So Thorson checks back in, the 6'1" senior, who has been good off the bench. Matter of fact, outstanding.
That's the young man right there. You will hear from him, Thomas Clark, football and basketball.
Now let's take a look at a young man we've been hearing from so far in the tournament, Nick Nurse, N-U-R-S-E, 6'1" senior.
Baby of the family, had an older brother, played in the state tournament team for Kuemper, holds their school record in the pole vault, pitches on the baseball team.
Nothing happens that time, and they battle for it, and let's see. They'll call the foul.
Well, you don't want Carroll Kuemper on that line that much if you're Fort Dodge trying to get a rally back.
Let's go, man.
Yep.
Let's go.
That's Brian David that walks down there and gives him the words of encouragement.
So Nurse goes back. We'll try again. This time it works.
Quarterback of the football team, in addition to all the other things that I mentioned. Coach says he'll miss him a lot. Look at him chew that gum. Nick Nurse.
So he's 2 out of 2 after getting a reprieve. He has a total of 8, and it builds it up to 8 points, 56-44.
Hey, you're talking 12 points with 6:45 to play.
That's Crooks over the top of David. He's getting tough.
Dave apparently told David to let him have that shot because David's not about to foul out of this game.
13 for Crooks. 56-46. Oswald in the front court. Was 12 a moment ago. It is 10 now. We have 6:15 left to go in our ball game. Deers from about 16 feet. He has a total of 10. So Bill Deers coming on tough here in this final frame. 58-46. We're up by 12 for the second time. The biggest lead enjoyed by Carroll Kuemper.
And we've gone under 6 minutes.
You're looking at Lamica fire away, and David pulls it down.
That was a fine rebound. He went and got that from the outside position on that strong side without getting a foul. That's pretty hard to do.
Under 6. Oswald traveled. So it goes back to Fort Dodge. Fort Dodge trying to scramble back into it if they can. West Waterloo gets the winner. Burlington gets the loser. Both games on Saturday. One is for championship. One will be in the afternoon for consolation. The foul out front is going to be called on Galen. His second.
41's the shooter.
So Fort Dodge got life. They're going to go to the line.
In the person of Mike Murphy, who has struggled here. He's averaging 15.5. He only had 9 in the Dowling win. He's only got 2 here in this ball game, and those came in the opening frame.
41,
Missed his only
41.
free throw attempt
41.
prior to this try, so we'll see what happens.
Left-hander.
41.
They're changing shooters. They're putting Lamica on the line.
Apparently they are.
Lamica's a better free thrower than
41.
Murphy.
Let's see what happens.
No. 41.
The official making that decision down there is Charles Britton.
And now Murphy won't go. Okay.
And the coach at Fort Dodge Reimers wants to know why. Actually, Lamica has had the hotter hand at the free throw line.
Yeah, he sure has. He's had a lot of them here. Not this time. The rebound follow-up by Murphy won't go, and Crooks puts it up. There's a foul on David.
David, he's got 4.
Crooks just put in his 15th point. You have a chance to narrow it even more as they come within 10.
Wasn't on the ball.
5:35 left to play. Jimmy Crooks. He has hit 1 out of 3 free throws here so far this afternoon.
Coach Gary Reiner's really suffering over there. Took the head job this year when Terry Carroll left to become an assistant at Drake. You'll remember Terry Carroll in this tournament when he was the quarterback of the Ames team that won it all.
Will there be a timeout? There will be.
Must be.
Timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 58, Fort Dodge 49. Now this word from your local station.
Mark, when they came into this, Carroll Kuemper was the smallest school in AAA with only 320 boys or 630 students. Fort Dodge has twice that. They have 500 boys in the high school.
Well, we have 5.5 minutes left to resolve this one. We just noticed that Jimmy Crooks has scored a total of 16 points in the ball game. 14 of those have come in the second half. He was held to just 2 in the first half, but so far in this quarter, Kuemper has outscored Fort Dodge 10-6. So Carroll Kuemper continues to have the upper hand as it has had ever since the second period.
Don't you imagine during the timeout, obviously you want to get Brian David out of there just in case Crooks would get the hot hand. Brian David's still the tallest man in the tournament at 6'9", but Crooks is now the tallest man out there at 6'8".
And Craig Broyles is 6'5". He replaced him for Kuemper. That's Broyles handling the basketball, by the way. They give it over to Oswald, who has played well. To Nurse, in turn to Gehling, to Broyles. Lost it.
Big turnover.
Yeah, he tried to bounce it off of someone else's foot. He's losing his balance. Couldn't do it. J.D. Crumley picks it up. That's Thorson. Trying to go inside Lamica. They pick his pocket. Nurse has it. Will he hold it up? He does. Gives it to Deers. Back to Nurse.
Well, that Nurse is important.
Good discipline. Didn't have it open all the way in, so they set it up. Against that 2-3. Deers with the pass to Nurse. Time now becoming a big factor for Fort Dodge.
And it's the ally of Carroll, as you can see them using some.
Beautiful pass by Nurse inside Broyles. He is fouled by Lamica.
Well, if he hadn't have, it was a sure two.
Nurse had just a super pass, as you could see.
Take a look at this. You see Lamica come out of nowhere and make a desperate try. Here's an easy two unless Lamica does something. He caught him on the ball with one hand, but slapped his wrist with the other.
Good foul, as you say. Stop the 2 points. Make him earn it from the line. And this guy can shoot 85% from the line. Has yet to try here this afternoon. Left-hander. Perfect. He's been a reserve for David for most of the season. He's a transfer out of Madrid, I understand, Mitch.
Yep, Madrid,
or Madrid.
Iowa.
Thank you. I thought Spain would be a pretty far-flung farm system. Okay, 59-49 is where it stays. Murphy trying to get 2. Boyd's had a tough game. Crooks on the follow-up. Murphy loses it. It's on the floor, picked up by Broyles, and here comes Deers. 2-on-2, gives it over to Nurse.
Oh, did he have a decision to make there?
You could just see him straining at it. Foul is called on Lamica.
Yep. They know the clock is now into the game, and Brian David is coming into the game also. You take a look at it right now. This youngster's instinct is wanting to shoot the ball, but he's going to try and get it back outside to eat up some time, and he got fouled in doing so.
So we'll take a look at Nick Nurse, a 71% free throw shooter. He's hit 2 out of 3 so far here this afternoon. Scored just 8 points, which is below his 12-point average, and way below the 19 he racked up against Cedar Rapids, Washington.
Kid plays hard, and he doesn't get many personal fouls of his own. He had only 1 in that opening win against Washington, Cedar Rapids.
Smart athlete, has lots of assists, does a lot for this ball club. What did you say, 7 brothers were athletes in that family, Mitch? 4 in a row from the line after he missed his initial free throw. He has a total of 10. 61-49. The spread is 12 for the 3rd time, the biggest lead. Lamica over the top of David. Crooks on the follow-up. David gets the rebound away from Crooks. Gives it over to Oswald.
Well, they're not letting David play much defense, so they're keeping him back out of there.
Nurse to Gehling.
If it ends up being Carroll Kuemper against West Waterloo, you're going to have 2 real philosophies of basketball on the line.
You're going to watch some disciplines, aren't you?
Oh, boy. Which team will get the other one to play in their game?
3:35 left. Nurse to Gehling.
They're only going to take 2 if it's a layup or throw it away.
I was just going to say it's a dangerous pass, but in that instance it was a poor pass. It's just too high and too far.
This is a critical time down the court as Fort Dodge goes east.
61-49. Murphy goes inside Lamica. Tipped over to Crooks. Bango.
Big guys taking charge.
18 for Crooks. 16 in the second half. He's trying, but it's like pulling teeth. Carroll Kuemper not folding. 61-51 it stays. Coming down to 3 now. They give it to Deers. D-I-E-R-S. Over to David. Always a safe pass. Throw it high to David. Huh? The foul out front. They'll call it on on Thorson, excuse me.
1 foul.
Well, Carroll Kuemper has played on Saturday night before, Mark. They finished second in 1969 to Don King Cedar Rapids Washington Ball Club, 73-62. They've never won it all, though. Nor has Fort Dodge, and they might be back yet.
John Oswald, who has had a fine day, had 1 point against Cedar Rapids, Washington. He's looking for his 14th here. Still looking for it. The long rebound out, and Oswald on the foul.
Now that's exactly what they don't want, to stop the clock and pick up the foul and put Fort Dodge on the line.
Right, let him score without any time coming off the clock is not wise. That's score on Oswald, by the way. You see him talking to Coach Chanley, and I think he's saying just what Mitch has suggested to you. We've got a timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kuemper 61, Fort Dodge 51. Now this word from your local station.
All rights to the 1985 Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament have been awarded by the Iowa High School Athletic Association to Turner Television Productions, Sioux City. No rebroadcast, videotape presentation, or other use of this telecast is permitted without the express written consent of William F. Turner, executive producer, Sioux City.
It's winding down with 2:52 left. The difference is 10. That is by no means decisive. A lot can happen in almost 3 minutes of basketball. The Dodgers have been trying to climb out of that hole ever since the second quarter when they got into it, but they've been close. It was 32-26 Kuemper at the end of 2. It was 48-43 at the end of 3. And he'll get another crack at it. The violation will put him back on the line, him being Thorson. So a reprieve on the 1-and-1.
Rob Thorson.
So he'll go again. That's 3 out of 4 from the line.
This is a big one. If they can cut her down to about 8 right here, Mark, we can still have a ball game.
You better believe it. How are they as a three-point club, Mitch? I'm talking about Fort Dodge now. I know Carroll Kuemper doesn't rely on that very much at all.
All right, they tried 71 during the season, made 36. That's exactly 50-50.
So they're into it, aren't they?
You bet.
Slapped away by Crooks. Beautiful larceny, and he is hacked by Nurse.
That might have been a wise foul also, because this boy is not the greatest free thrower, but he was in there for an easy 2.
Did you notice the piracy, though? The big size, he's
Take a
still
look
at
at
the
this
quickness.
now.
Watch him
Here the
slap
big
it
guy
away.
comes up, punches the ball. We watch him put it down on the floor. Now Nurse reaches in there, and I think it won't be 2 shots for deliberate, but I'll bet it was.
All right, 44% from the free throw line. Doesn't happen. The rebound taken off by Gehling.
That's why it was a wise foul.
Yep. And in the backcourt, Lamica on the foul.
Because he knows the clock is a part of the ball game. 2 minutes and 34 seconds to play.
I wonder if he's starting a little early, though, Mitch.
The thing that you have to realize that the big guy, Crooks, will have the inside rebound position in there, and they can hope for a miss.
Well, he's a 47%er. Oswald is.
That's Coach Reimers.
He's only hit 1 out of 3. So here again, we'll see if that was a wise decision. They're obviously picking on him purposely. We know the stats. So does the bench. But Oswald responds.
Coach Reimers, who we got to look at there, had been the sophomore coach for 7 years at Fort Dodge. He was a junior college All-American on some fine Ellsworth teams.
Oswald 2 out of 4 from the line. 3 out of 5. Not too shabby, especially when they had a habit. That's 15 points for Oswald. Big game. It's back to 11. Has been 12 3 times. Crooks about 14.5 feet away.
He has become important.
His 18th point of the second half. He has a total of 20. 63-54. Time. That's the factor now as it comes down to 2 minutes 10 seconds. Oswald gives it to Nurse. They box him in, and the foul would be called against J.D. Crumley. John David picks up number 2.
We're at 2:04 when the clock stopped.
Yep. And the shooter will be Nurse. He is 71%. He has hit his last 4 free throws. He missed his initial, so he's 4 out of 5, but the last 4 in a row. The kid can shoot.
Boy, holds a school record in the pole vault, amongst other things. Name this game and he'll play it.
The string is broken after 4 straight.
Boy, Murphy had the rebound, too.
Yep. And look at who picks it up. Mr. Deers.
You've gone under 2 minutes.
Right. Gehling is fouled by Murphy. 4 for Murphy, and Murphy has struggled in this one. Tried very, very hard. Working like a dog and nothing much coming up. You know how it is, Murph.
Well, Gehling, the man he fouled, actually hasn't been the one-man gang wrecking crew he was the other day either.
Well, of course, I think that was hardly expected, Mitch. He had a career-high 21. He's averaging around 8.5. He's got 10 here today, looking for his 11th, which ain't too shabby when you think about it.
Kids call him Slick. Had a brother, Ken, that played in that state tournament team for Kuemper. Farm Boy lives out in the country. Timeout.
Timeout on the floor with the score. Carroll Kemper 64, Fort Dodge 54. Now this word from your local station. Can you make up 10 points, maybe 11 in 2 minutes? That's the question. Of course, the three-point rule is here. As Mitch told you, Fort Dodge is a pretty good three-point ball club. And that rule, Frosty may not survive.
Hey, the jury is out on that one, and one of the people making the decision is Bernie Sagaw, nationally, to make the decision.
Right.
Now, Bernie's going to talk about that Saturday night on television with me.
Interesting.
And he's going to say something about high school football playoffs that's going to surprise a few folks.
Gailing trying to make it 11, and he does. 12 points for Gailing. Had a good tournament, both games. 65-54. Inside to Lanica, over the top of David. Crooks gets the rebound. He goes up over the top of Gailing. It won't fall. Crooks again, no good. Murphy, too late. There was a foul underneath before the score, and it'll be called against
Lanica.
Yeah.
That's about all for him.
I was going to say, Lanica.
Boy, Waterloo or Fort Dodge had great chances down there that time. Because they're backing Brian David out of there with 4 fouls for Carroll Kemper. There's a disappointed youngster in Lanica.
He has played well, worked hard.
Quarterback of the football team, orthoscopic surgery, then came back to play in the state tournament. I have a lot of admiration for that.
Good-looking young man, checks out with 15. He scored 13 against Dowling, and now apparently will go into consolation, but this one still is not over as the miss by Gailing gives life to Fort Dodge. J.D. Crumley comes down in a hurry. He'll try it. It'll only be 2 if he hits it. Larson with the follow-up. Murphy from behind. Only his second basket.
You'll see the quick foul now. It'll be intentional without making it look that way.
And they get quickly to Oswald, as we said, a 47%er, but Oswald's been hitting a few free throws.
Yes, he has down the clutch.
They fooled you.
A minute 23. What they need is the rebound of the three-point play. Last time they got in a little too quick on Gailing on the, or rather on the shot down there, Mark. Not Gailing, but he was over the line had it gone in. So Reimers earning his money today. What a year they've had. It being easy to be a fan when you won the state girls volleyball, the state boys wrestling, the girls basketball, and then the football playoffs.
Oswald, his 3rd consecutive free throws. We said less than a 50%er on the season. He made his first one today, missed 2 in a row, and now has made 3 in a row. And Crooks sweeps the board clean. 66-56. Murphy with that left hand. The rebound in the hands of Oswald. He gives it down to Gailing. Gailing around Larson, and bang.
That one probably did it. You can sack up the bats.
14 points for Gailing. We're down to a minute 2. Thorson draws air. Out of bounds in favor of Carroll Kemper. Yep. West Waterloo and Carroll Kemper, the Knights. You're rated. Everybody wants a chunk of your hide. You got to be up every day. Down to 38 seconds. The issue here not in doubt, of course, any longer.
The hay is in the barn.
That's over to the far side to Nurse. Is there a foul? There is.
And Brian David is finally going to go to the line.
Scott Patton picks up the personal foul. His first as he's just come into the lineup. He's in there with Larson. Mike Thetford is in. Some others coming in. Hamid Al-Hamid is in.
Well, Brian David at the lines told us that, said, I've always watched the state tournament on TV. Getting there has always been my dream. That I used to watch it and say to myself, I'm going to play there someday.
There's the joy of winning. You work hard for it, and when you get it, you just let it all run over. Here's David looking for his 16th point here this afternoon. 1 out of 2 from the free throw line. There's David. You can see the joy reflected on their faces, and obviously just as despondent as Lute Olson looks at what he hopes will be a future star.
Talking to Hal Lagerstrom of the Dubuque Telegraph-Herald there in that interview, or in that picture.
17 for David. Broyles comes in to take it out. Try and get some of the changes in there for you if we can. gave you some for West Waterloo.
Carroll Kuemper averages 69.4 on the season offensively. They're sitting on 70 with 25 seconds to play.
Dave Drea, 5'9", sophomore, is checked in. That for Carroll Kuemper. That shot rebounded by Carroll Kuemper, and they bring it up in a hurry. We're down to 13 seconds. You can watch the countdown on your screen. Deers picks it up. And let's see, he was fouled. He was. It'll be on Scott Patton.
Well, tomorrow night, for all the marbles, you're going to have a dream in West Waterloo, a speed game against this controlled basketball of Kuemper. You're going to have a public against a parochial, and you're going to have West against East in Iowa.
And you know, interestingly enough, you're going to have the same kind of setup when it comes to speed and control in the 3A consolation Saturday at 3:45, Mitch, with Burlington and Fort Dodge.
And about 2.5 hours from now, we've got the A state championship and then the 1A yet to come tonight.
Deers with the right hand. Give him 11.
He's turned out to be rather important in this game.
Yes, he has. They got good balance up and down the lineup. A lot of people can hurt you. They'll need that tomorrow. Patton on the shot. Whoa! Scott Patton hits it at the buzzer. That's the end of the game with the score. Carroll Kuemper 71, Fort Dodge 59. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Carroll Kuemper enjoying the joy that comes with winning, and the field is now set for the 3A title. West Waterloo, Carroll Kuemper tomorrow night, 8:15. A new champion to be crowned to try and replace Cedar Rapids Kennedy, winner of it last year. Burlington and Fort Dodge go into consolation or fourth place tomorrow afternoon in a ball game slated for 3:45. The 2A championship tomorrow will be settled between Comanche and Hull Western Christian. That will precede that 3A championship. Big ball game out here. Carroll Kuemper grabbing the lead after a tie for the first quarter of 14-all. Grabs it in the second. Leads by 5 at the break, and then continued to dominate the ball game until the end. Fort Dodge trying to scrap back into it. It just never happened. They finished it with a big three-pointer, but it was meaningless. 71-59. We'll be back with the statistics after this word from your local station. Balanced scoring by Carroll Kuemper. All 5 starters in double figures, led by Oswald with 16, David with 15. Jimmy Crooks countered 20 for game high for Fort Dodge, followed by LaMonica, but too little, too late. There it is. We hope you've enjoyed this telecast of the 1985 Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament. Our thanks, tip of the hat as usual, to Frosty Mitchell, to Perry Garner III up here helping us on our left side. Mark Zellett saying so long, everybody, from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines.